Retreat!
Ah! Yeah!
Again and again and again.
Give me a time.
An army's a waste of time for one like me.
Cursed traitors.
Fishing in the moat? Oh, you're dead.
This could hurt. Watch your heads!
Off to the front yet again.
Commissar will hear.
Our ballista, your command.
Brach! Scheiß! In! Zwei!
Off to the front yet again.
Discipline. That is what you folk lack. Very gloire.
It's not too late to walk away.
I'm a one, sir.
Entering the swamp's easy. Trouble's getting out.
In the distance, Meave spotted a spindle-like shape, which soon proved an enormous, dark obelisk. It stood in the middle of a wetland clearing. Dozens of iron rings dangled from its shaft, clinking and rattling in gusts of wind. Cows, donkeys, and dogs were gathered round the stone, all tied to the rings by ropes. Their hides showed many shallow cuts, seeping blood, festering, drawing mosquitoes in swarms. A number of the animals struggled against their cords, while others, near dead, lay still in the wet, tall grass. Across the clearing, folk emerged from the woods, a handful of peasants with a mule in tow. The beast resisted, stomped and planted its hooves, perhaps sensing its gruesome fate. The queen decided to question the peasants, and soon learned the animals were their sacrifice to the swamp gods.
They're all about, dearie. Very close. Oh, very, very close.
The toothless old woman whispered.
They hide neath murky waters. Come feed when they hear the drip drip of blood. The gods look kindly on those what make an offering.
I know nothing of your gods,
Began the queen, her nose crinkled in disgust.
but any that demand such grisly tribute are not at all worthy of reverence. What you do to these creatures is savagery. Savagery I can't allow.
Run us off, you can.
Replied the old shrew.
But soon as you're gone, we'll come back. As ever, we'll come back.
This I know. So I must take care to leave you naught to come back to.
Over the peasants' howls and pleas, Meve ordered the obelisk brought down. Her soldiers gripped the ropes that hung from it and toppled the shaft. As it hit the ground, it shattered into many small pieces.
You say you know nought of our gods?
The old woman's eyes narrowed, her voice grew darker still.
Well, don't you worry your head, sweetie. You'll meet him soon enough. They'll tangle your parts. Sow a pox among you, drive it to madness. Every last one. I curse you, all of you, in Nilfgaardian's name.
Undisturbed by the Harridan's screamed threats, Meve rode on. But her men whispered long of the curse. It weighed on their minds, poisoned their hearts. Each misstep, misfortune, they saw as punishment for their sacrilege.
May the swamp turn red with your blood! Hail Nilfgaardian! May the swamp turn red with your blood!
In Angren, all decomposes, be it dead or very much alive. Rot blights trees, seeping sores torment beasts, and the whole swamp emits the acrid, stifling stench of decay. So when, in the swamp's distant corner, the Lyrians caught whiffs of smoke and roasted meat, they stopped dead in their tracks. The scouts followed their noses to a clearing framed by a palisade. Through the gaps in the posts, they spotted a small fort.
Any banners upon it? Whose do you see?
Asked the queen.
There aren't none, your grace. Not one golden sun, not one silver lily.
Meve gave the gate a few solid knocks with her shield. Moments later, a dozen armed men appeared atop the rampart. The one who led them wore a beard.
Who are you? Why are you here?
I'm Meve, Queen of Lyria and Rivia. At war with Nilfgaard, I ventured into these swamps.
Is there a war on? Hey, that's news. Certainly, but little concern to me. The name's Gimpy Gerwin and I rule these lands.
Is that so? As conferred upon you by whom?
By me! Angren's a good bit larger than folk think. And no dukes or emperor's fingers stand to reach its every corner. Thus I just up and took this particular nook. Made it mine. So let's parley, Meve. One ruler to another. At the risk of being blunt, I don't care who wins this war. But I want to be in good standing with whoever does. So, I offer you a fire at which to warm your limbs. Also, a place at my table and beds for you to rest. On condition, you pledge to me one very small thing. To respect the sacred laws of hospitality.
So be it. I do solemnly swear before the gods and my ancestors that we shall honor all the laws of hospitality.
Then you're most welcome inside.
The fort was simple, built of logs, covered with thatch. Oh, but inside, it was warm, dry. Hot, steaming dishes were piled upon platters, the tables beneath them bent from their weight. Smiles appeared on her soldiers' drained faces, and Meve's spirits were lifted at last. Gerwin proved a cordial host, and eagerly shared both food and tales. He'd led a mercenary band, and they'd stumbled into Angren, discovered a land unclaimed by any feudal lord. He'd erected the fort, then united the surrounding villages under his very own rule.
The folk here are savage, defiant.
He said, sipping wine.
I keep them on a tight lead for their own good. Elsewise they'd slit your throat first chance they got.
Late that night, Meve went to see if her mare had been dressed. In the stable, she happened on a farmhand. Recognizing the queen, the man fell to his knees and averted his eyes. Meve noticed a strange object dangling from a rope around his neck. A human hand half rotted to the bone.
What? What is that?
My wife's hand, your grace.
Stammered the peasant.
Lord Gerwin caught her sneaking some grub. Scraps, really. Took her and told me to wear it, so I'd remember what happens when...
Meve left the stable without uttering another word. She went straight to the servants' barracks. In the pale glow of her torch, she looked over the peasants. All terrified, all with fresh, bleeding wounds. The queen felt rage rise inside her. The queen blew her horn. Lyrian soldiers filled the yard. They hastily donned their armor, strapped on their swords. Unsure of Meve's intentions, Gerwin's men likewise stood at the ready, weapons in hand.
Gerwin!
Roared Meve.
Get out here at once!
The stout mercenary stood at his window, glaring from beneath his furrowed brow.
I don't know what you think you're doing,
He called.
but I'd kindly remind you of your oath and the laws.
I've seen your laws. You're strict and they're cruel. So your rule will end now. Attack!
didn't think a queen would so easily break her word.
Cursed traitors.
You mad? Don't shake that!
Sod it. Sod it all.
Left, right, left, right.
Don't like this.
You did the right thing. We should never turn a blind eye to others' suffering.
Again and again and again.
Awaiting your orders. This could hurt. To arms! Freedom!
Give me a time.
Awaiting your orders.
Army's a waste of time for one like me.
Cursed traitors.
It's gonna be a right good levy, big and beautiful.
Left, right, left, right.
I'd hoped we could solve this some other way.
Sod it. Sod it all.
Remove this pile of manure from my sight.
Lame as he was, Gerwin had been a mercenary. He fought hard, he fought well, yet still proved no match for me. She knocked his axe from his hand, he fell to his knees, then she cleaved his head clear off. It rolled like a gourd and came to rest at the peasant's feet.
You've your freedom back,
Growled Meve as she wiped her sword.
yet do not take it for granted. Nilfgaard is in Angren. The Blackclads will come here too. As long as the golden sun flies over the marsh, you must hide in the woods.
Meve's force left the fort before dawn. She rode at the fore, lips pursed, jaw clenched. A stain on her honor. She'd broken her word. Apart from all else, it stung on the inside.
We're free. It is the truth. The gods bless you, your majesty. That Gerwin bloke were a monster, milady. A monster. Worse nor a pack of ghouls. Pack? No, worse nor a swarm. 1 month he kept me in darkness, and I only busted a tankard. I'll not stay here. 'Tis an evil place. Rather go with ye, even if I'm to fight Blacklads along the way.
Your Majesty? Are you well?
Yes. Yes, but the stench.
It's gonna be a right good levy, big and beautiful.
Neve stood waiting while her scouts cut through the tangled branches and roots that had overgrown the trail through the swamp. Suddenly, a soldier doubled over and began to retch blood. The same symptoms soon afflicted others in her ranks.
A potent poison,
Was the medic's verdict. It seemed all those who'd fallen ill had shared a tent. One night, they'd chattered about an obelisk they'd destroyed and the group of incensed peasants who'd cursed them for it. Fearing for their lives, the footman had gone to a local herbalist. She'd brewed them a potion to ward off black magic. Alas, the concoction had proved poisonous, while the herbalist had vanished without a trace. Happily, Isbel concocted an antidote in time to deliver the soldiers from a certain and agonizing death. The mage explained their misfortune had not issued from a dark, corrupt force, but from simple human wickedness. Her calming voice and gentle smile lifted the soldiers' spirits. Trusting in her care, they soon wholly forgot the so-called curse. Meve rode at the front, her eyes fixed on the ground, and thus spotted the pit masked by leaves and branches. She tugged hard on her reins and steered her mount to the south. Alas, the cavalrymen behind her did not follow her lead. Leaves rustled, boughs snapped. and the horseman crashed to the pit's bottom, snapping his neck. Moments later, it was clear who'd set the trap, when the forest came alive and a cry rang out.
It's a trap! Rally to me!
I smell a leak.
You mad? Don't shake that!
Is that what?
Again and again and again.
I'd hoped we could solve this some other way.
Can't hurt them.
Arbalist to your command.
A highly curious case.
An army's a waste of time for one like me.
We'll catch 'em all!
Armor won't sir.
Retreat! Fall back!
Caught between Lyrian hammer and Skelligan stone, Nilfgaard was shattered, destroyed. The victors now stood eyeing each other. These islanders were not like those Meve had met before. They wore no armor and carried no shields. At their fore stood a man as stout as an ox and bald as an ancient ghoul. His men called him Arnulf, the Patricide.
I thank you for your aid, Arnulf,
said Meve, extending a hand.
Aid, she says. Aid? Do you hear that, mates?
The Skelligers exchanged glances, then erupted in roaring laughter.
Not here to help yous, not at all. We're after killing.
Join me and you shall have your fill.
Join nuisance? Just who the hell are you?
Meve, Queen of Rivia and Lyria.
Meve?
Arnulf said, his tone sobering.
I know the name. Lippy Goodman called ye bold, praised your courage to the high heaven. So be it. We'll follow you into fire, wench. Just let us taste of blood. Grant us a death worthy of heroes.
Meve couldn't help but smile, then nodded to accept. The Lyrians stepped aside as tattooed warriors joined their ranks.
I'm pleased to see you again, Mom. You need something?
You wish to speak with me? In private?
Yes, Mom. I've given thought to certain matters. The time's come to explain and reveal my decisions. I've not been entirely honest, but I've seen you very much deserve the truth. You're brave, wise, and above all, you've a good heart. And thus you're unlike any other ruler I've ever met, had dealings with.
Isabel, what is it you wish to say? You're starting to worry me.
I told you of Sintra and Sodden. Do you recall? It's true, I took part in that war. Yet I fought for the Empire.
What? I'm not certain I understand.
My name is Isbel ep Muirmos, of Nilfgaard. I wish I could say I am from a conquered province. I wish I had that luxury. But no, I hail from the city of the Golden Towers itself.
My, I'd certainly not expected that. Please, tell me more.
I went straight from the academy to the army, as mages do in Nilfgaard. Yet I truly believed our aim to be to build a better world. With our help, the mages, the Emperor conquered realm after realm, right up to the Amel Mountains. Yet he was not sated, and turned his greedy eyes to the north. But the north stood and faced him. I'll never forget the bloodbath he wrought in Sintra. It was unspeakable.
He sought to intimidate us. He united us instead.
Indeed. At Sodden, when chaos engulfed the Imperial army, I saw my chance to flee the madness and begin life anew. And I did just that. I never sought thereafter to rejoin my countrymen or return to my home. Instead, I stayed in the north and swore never again to use my magic to harm others. Yet I cannot stand idle as the Emperor perpetrates atrocity after atrocity. I wish to fight at your side.
All deserve a second chance. Yet from now on, there are to be no more secrets between us.
Certainly. I thank you. You've no idea what this means to me.
Good. Oh, and Isbel. This must stay between us alone. For your own sake.
I appreciate the concern, Mom. But you needn't worry about me. I've lived for some time in the north, and dare say I know how to get by.
The city of the Golden Towers. Don't think I know any soul who's seen it with their own eyes.
Did you know many common folk believe they're made of real gold, the towers? Yet they're named for how the southern sun dances off their rooftops. My family lived in the capital long before Nilfgaard was ever an empire. The city is of great beauty, was always a source of pride, turned arrogance in time. When I was but a lass, my father would take me to the grand amphitheater to watch the gladiators fight. A daughter of Nilfgaard should grow accustomed to the sight of blood, he said. For to conquer the world was our destiny.
Dreadful. You must have hated it.
At the time, I saw nothing wrong in it. I admired the gladiators for their bravery, skill, finesse. Though now it shames me to admit it.
Duty calls. I must go.
Of course. Should you need me, I'll be here.
You need my help with anything? Anything at all, I've ideas aplenty.
Ever travelled with an army before?
Frankly, can't say that I have. You folk are my first. And let me say, it's not nearly as dull as I expected. Your travelling companions, fascinating, truly.
Is that so? Who, if I might ask?
Let me think. Then there's that aged woman. Isabel, is it? Oh, your grace, a complete lunatic, that one. Did you know she believes the world to be round? Round! Like an egg! And just between the two of us, the quiet chap, Xavier, gives me the willies, truth be told. Could just be on account of his face looking like a piece of taffy stuck to the sole of a boot. Who else? Oh, right, a word of advice. Never play Gascon at cards. He's a hustler, that one. And he tells tall tales. About debts, specifically. Ones that I supposedly owe him. And the Reynard fellow. What a jester. Always good for a laugh.
I'm sorry, what?
Every day he barks at me, stand at attention, with a perfectly straight face. And last, he asked asked if I'd served in the Norm Army. I mean, really. Sometimes I just can't with that man.
Very thorough, Barnabas. I thank you. Time I attended to other matters.
Ah, yes, you're still here. Off you go, then.
Yes, milady?
I haven't had the opportunity to thank you. Had you not been so alert, we'd have fallen to our deaths in Mahakam.
I merely did my duty, Your Majesty.
Modest as ever. Yet once the war is over, I shall make certain you're properly rewarded.
My lady, the one reward I desire is victory. Your victory.
Other matters await my attention. We shall speak later.
As you wish, my lady.
Always good to see the Queen. How can I help you?
We haven't had a chance to speak since we left Mahakam. Why join us? Or decide to leave your homeland, for that matter?
As I said, I was in your debt. Still am.
You're a dwarf of honor, I'm pleased. But not entirely convinced 'twas reason enough for you to leave your clan.
Not about to let me off easy, are you? All right. I may have been motivated elsewise.
By a guilty conscience?
The horridness with the Fuchses. All that blood and mud. It went too far. I tried to talk it out with the elders. They brushed me aside like a wee bear. But that weren't the whole of it. I saw the shite dwarves living in your cities go through. Thought I'd forget once I came home. Got back to dealing with my own problems. Only, can't I forget something like that? I've got to help. Any way I can. Nothing would come of my sitting on my arse in Mahakam.
I understand, Gabor. And I know you'll find a way to help. We shall return to this conversation later.
No skin off my back. We seen each other, your grace.
Neve, I must say it again, I'm sorry. And I thank you for forgiving me.
No need to say any more, Gascon.
But you've got to know.
Every time you bring it up, I'm tempted to change my mind. Now let's turn to the task at hand. Ever have regrets? Feel remorse?
For what?
Oh, I don't know. Killing innocents, perhaps? Murdering travelers, pilgrims?
I've always warned them. Won't touch a hair on your heads, provided you don't resist. So, see, gave them a choice. Besides, innocence? Please, Neve. We both know those to be mythical creatures. Everyone's got something on their conscience.
So there's always call for murder?
That's right. Dead right. You need but answer it.
It's time I attended to other matters. Farewell. Arnulf, find a place at one of the tables. Have a drink. Meet my men.
Think there's been a failure to communicate, lass? I didn't join your army to meet men, but to meet death. Quicker you lead me to that, the better.
I wish not to pry, but Why do you long for death?
For only death can cleanse me of shame. You must have heard what they call me. Arnulf the Patricide. A moniker I earned. Oh, I did.
To die by one's child's hand. A terrible fate. And it shall be mine as well if I lose this war.
But did you earn it, this fate?
What? Not always have I been just with Willem. I dismissed him, neglected him, but...
Neglected? Listen, lass. My dad, he beat me till my skin turned blue and I chucked red bile. He'd drink and beat, drink and beat. My brother, Ulf, da clobbered him to death. My ma, she took her own life. Never met this son of yours. But I know yous a bit now, and I can say this. No kin of yours needs slaying.
I can't help but wonder. What does it signify? The tattoo on your head?
Ain't a tattoo. Carved these runes with a knife.
The method makes little difference. What do they mean?
Aim here. Message for enemy archers. Alas, don't seem they can read it. At least not from a distance. And when they get close, it's already too late for them.
So long, Arnulf.
Your Grace, I wished once more to express my gratitude for your show of mercy.
I showed mercy, true, but felt much more. Anger, pain, now resentment. You hurt me, Reynard. Wounded me to the bloody core. I don't know what else to say on the matter, so let's not speak of it.
As you wish, Your Grace.
Reynard, you fought in the first war against Nilfgaard, did you not?
Yes, Your Grace. Though, as a mere captain then.
Were they equally cruel? Did they scorch fields, turn peasants into slaves?
Nay, Your Grace. They fought with honor in those days.
So, what's happened? Why the change?
It's said Emperor Emir var Emrys's heart hardened over the years. He's grown crueler, more ruthless. His soldiers' zeal for violence has followed suit.
But you don't say that.
No, Your Grace.
To your mind, why do they now despise us as they war against us?
'Tis ever easier to loathe those you know. Before the first war, they knew nothing about us. Then they saw they'd the better weapons, larger cities, superior craft. But in our towns, waste flowed through the streets in open gutters, and they concluded we weren't their equals. It's far easier to kill when one holds such a belief.
It's time I attended to other matters.
Beware! The bloody mistress despises those who kill her servants.
Your Grace, the charts say we near Tusley.
Angren renders charts helpless to show the way, I fear. Soon we shall halt to sight our exact position. We will know then if our path is true.
As you wish, Your Grace. One boat's all I need. Give me a target. Ballista, your command. I'm a monster. Lyria! One boat all I need. Give me a target. Ballista, your command. I'm a monster. Lyria!
Oh, be ashamed to let this beauty go to waste.
One boat's all I need. Give me a target. Ballista, your command.
The scouts rode at the fore, with Meve right behind them. Their task, to find safe passage for the rest of the force. One among them probed for the quagmire's depth, a pole of 5 ells in hand. Suddenly, all heard a loud clang. The scouts dismounted, then heaved a bronze statue from the mire. Once it was cleaned of slime and muck, Meve instantly recognized its elven handiwork. The sculpture was exceedingly well preserved, save one detail. Someone had removed its face, leaving a black hole in its stead.
Search the environs!
Ordered Meve. Amongst some brambles, they discovered the entrance to a vast tomb. Its doors had been torn open. On the ground before them lay scattered bones, some yellowed with age, others fresh, cracked and tattered from having been gnawed. Meve stood silent and contemplating at the tomb's threshold. Then, torch in hand, she entered and waded into fetid waters. Her soldiers followed close, arms at the ready, a nervous sweat on their brows. Frescoes on the tomb walls depicted Angren swamps and the beasts that prowled them. 2 words were inscribed over the largest of the horrors: Gwern Iker.
The bloody mistress!
Barnabas Beckenbauer whispered. Suddenly, a roar thundered from deeper inside the tomb. Meve turned from the frescoes to see monstrous eyes blazing in the dark.
To me! We'll not die this day!
This could hurt.
It's so dark and wet. Why is it everywhere we go is dark and wet?
Watch your heads!
Left, right, left, right. Again and again and again.
Don't like this.
It's gonna be a right good levy, big and beautiful.
Gonna need 3 buckets of nails and a tub full of pegs. One bullet's all I need. Give me a time.
An army's a waste of time for one like me.
Arbalist to your command.
There's a sight to reap, a time to sow.
Cursed traitors.
Lyria!
One bullet's all I need.
I think that's the last of them, but keep your weapons at the ready.
In her torch's feeble glow, the Queen examined the beast's corpse. She could not help but to shudder in disgust.
Perhaps it's better
She thought.
that we faced it in the dark.
At the corridor's end, they found a closed door. Before any could draw near, it opened with a crash. Beyond lay a circular room. Light shone through a hole in the chamber's ceiling, illuminating a stone pedestal and the sword that lay upon it.
The air in here, it crackles with magic,
whispered Ispel. Meve gripped the blade's hilt. A soothing warmth filled her arms and spread across her shoulders. Her tired muscles ceased trembling. Her fingers, stiff as sticks, relaxed. She brandished her prize, the air hissing as the blade sliced through it. She then nodded approvingly. The reward had been worth the risk. Barnabas Beckenbauer, a gleam in his eye, asked to look at the unsheathed sword. The gnome studied the quillions intently, having spotted an inscription there.
Can you say what's written there?
Asked Meve.
Yes, perhaps. They're clear, the words. Their meaning, not necessarily so. Wieldeth me, and loseth not hope amongst the blood-red waters.
It sounds like a riddle, but I've no wish to solve. We should move on, and quickly so.
Meve and the horseman beside her exchanged a perplexed glance. They'd heard the song clearly, both its tune and its verse. Whoever had hollowed it had to be close, and given their diction, rather well oiled. Moments later, a hamlet appeared to the Lyrians' tired eyes. A great bonfire blazed at its center. Around it danced peasants, barefoot, giggling, hooting, joyful and carefree. One by one they noticed the queen. Soon all were silent, huddled together, children peering from behind their backs.
Fear not,
Said Meve.
we mean you no harm. What do you celebrate? A lad's grooming? Nuptials?
Nay, milady. Hell yes. The gods have been kind. Filled us nets and snares with game. Come time we thank them.
Yes. You've things to be thankful for.
We do, milady. And we's poor folk. So a queen. Well, you must as well. Your Majesty, stay tonight, feast with us. There'll be music and plenty of rum by the fire.
Why not?
Began Meve, daintily dismounting.
We all deserve some respite, I suppose.
The Lyrians needed no convincing. With astonishing haste, they removed mail and helmets, then eagerly joined in the feting and dance. Amidst the trilling of flutes, fifes and fiddles, all those gathered revelled until dawn. They could rest at last, forget about Nilfgaard and the many beasts that prowled among the reeds. They'd long remember that night. The carefree laughter, peasant maids whirling in dance, the ale cold as a mountain spring, and the bread they crisped over the fire. One exchange in particular etched itself into the Queen's mind, an exchange she overheard.
Not a little? Not even a teeny tiny bit?
I'll say it again. It's not your concern.
Of course it's not. Wouldn't be so damn curious if it were. So be it. Keep your silence. But those eyes like the summer sky, that hair like waves of grain. I see the way you gape.
What do you two speak of?
Your Majesty.
Couldn't have answered that better myself.
Who does Reynard gape at?
Ha! The new ballista, what else? Ah, what a piece of work. Pure art, I say. Can't tear your eyes away for an instant.
Haven't you two held enough from me already? Don't play me for a fool. What's this about?
Meve, honestly, you do better to...
It's a private matter, Your Grace. One of the heart, you might say. If you'd allow it, I'd rather not share the details of our conversation.
All right. I'll leave you to discuss whatever men discuss. Consider me gone.
Meve turned and walked back to the fire, sat down on an old stump.
Ha! That was close. Shh!
And the faintest of smiles crossed her lips. Meve expected the villagers to request recompense for their welcome. Yet the peasants made not the slightest mention of coin, and the queen was much moved by their kindness. Once again, those with the least had proved the most willing to share. The Lyrians did not assemble come the morn. The force marched off in the afternoon, unshaven, unbathed, disheveled. Not normally one to overlook contempt for discipline, that day Meve understood even soldiers needed to let their guard down, at times.
Admire, admire, ample harvest year, for our mistress all need be kneeled.
Ugly bard, play us more your prose. Sing again, we'll dance a bit, and then we'll fix your nose. Ugly bard, play us more your prose. Sing again, we'll dance a bit, and then we'll fix your nose.
Sensing a limp in her mount's gait, Meve ordered the column to halt. There was a thorn in her mare's hoof, burrowing deeper with every step. The horse whinnied and pulled her leg away, but Meve knew how to calm her. She stroked the mare's cheek, whispered slow words in her ear. She then extracted the thorn without difficulty.
I'm sorry to interrupt,
Said the druid from behind Meve's back.
yet this is where our paths diverge. We've a modest gift to thank you for the road shared, and for your aid at the obelisk to the marsh gods.
Meve wished to respond, but the druids had turned toward the woods, their satchels slung over their shoulders. The queen waited till they were out of sight to open the bundle. Their gift was by no means modest.
The trees no longer wish us here. They call for someone else.
No matter what they think, Nilfgaardians won't last long here. Come a time, they'll leave gladly, just like all the others.
Ye've a good heart, my lady. If you'll not have victuals, please, take this. Elf engraving or some such. Means nowt to us, but might could help ye.
In Angren's swamps, one can easily lose one's way. Thick fog fills the air, paths end without warning, dense thickets obscure the distance. The sole way to determine one's position is to climb a tree and peer out over the canopy. This duty fell to Meave's scouts, while the force halted below. During one such delay, Meave caught the words she'd longed to hear.
Majesty! Tuzla Castle! Its tower! I see it!
To her soldiers' astonishment, Meave cast off her gauntlets and started up the nearest trunk. She longed to see the castle for herself, but then she would know sweet vengeance was at hand. The climb proved tricky, as the trunk was slippery and the branches, run through with rot, were frail. Yet Meave showed herself to be skillful and spry. As a child, she had loved to scale trees, much to her governess' dismay. Meave looked out to see a mighty stone tower outlined against the horizon. Legend holds Tuzla Castle was to have had 3 such bastions. Yet King Ragbard, the fort's benefactor, had forsaken the effort when yet another stone transport simply sank into Angren's boggy roads. It was a moment of respite for Meave, a moment of quiet joy. She breathed and tasted air free of the bog stench. She took in silence undisturbed by the hum of mosquito swarms. And she relished her prospects. The coming battle against Caldwell. The soldiers stood exhausted and filthy, many with raspy coughs, all sick of the meager gruel. But with the command to advance, a new strength sparked within them. Their step was lively, a fire burned in their eyes, each hoping to spill Caldwell's entrails, then dash them upon the fort walls. Yet as they drew near the stronghold, perched atop a stone isle, their verve dwindled, enthusiasm waned. They had taken fortresses with thicker walls, taller towers, and manned by more men. Yet they'd never seen nor laid siege to a fort standing on land so ill-suited. To rush the bulwarks through waist-deep mud, was this even possible?
Prove I was no fool to keep you at my side,
said Meave, turning to Gascon and Reynard.
A slaughter I must avoid. How will I do it?
Your Grace,
began Reynard.
Set our machines to sling boulders. At the west wall, it's weakest. 'Tis our best chance at a breach.
Our men'll need cover,
added Gascon.
Reeds we must harvest and burn. Smoke will cloak us, conceal us from the castle's defenders.
Good,
agreed the Queen.
Now get to work.
Amidst billowing blue smoke, Lyrian footmen rushed through the breach wrought by Reynard's catapults. Though she had yet to forgive her companions, Meave had to admit they'd given her sound advice.
I've come for your head!
I knew you'd come. Your lofty pride presages another dramatic fall.
As good as dead, that lot.
Discipline shall bring us victory! We must exploit the breach in their fortifications, Your Grace.
Army's a waste of time for one like me.
I never miss.
Gonna need 3 buckets of nails and a tub full of pegs.
And just when you thought things were about... Our archers shouldn't be any more trouble.
Left, right, left, right.
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
again and again and again.
Retreat! For the Queen! God save the Queen! To the last! Here!
No one touch him! The Count is mine!
Many of Maeve's victories have been immortalized in poetry and song, but not the fall of Tuzla. Lyrians fought Lyrians. Brothers killed brothers, in rain and mud, midst a cursed swamp. Certainly nothing to inspire a bard. Near the battle's end, Maeve stormed the great stone tower to which Caldwell had fled. The Queen ascended the stairs, dealing blow after blow, blood cascading down in her wake. She reached the top floor to find the Count waiting, with no intention to defend himself.
If it's mercy you expect, you'll be sorely disappointed.
Mercy? I know you all too well for that, Maeve. Ever vindictive and cruel.
All this from a paragon of knightly virtues. You stabbed me in the back, Caldwell, and used Willem to do so. My son!
Who agreed without a moment's hesitation? Forsaken by your own son, your flesh and blood. What's that say about you?
Oh, you tread on thin ice. Choose your next words carefully.
Spare me your threats. You'll kill me all the same.
Death can come in many ways, Count. Some quick, some slow.
My, how you strut and vaunt. Terribly sure of yourself. Perhaps too sure.
Your castle is mine. I've crushed your force. I dare say no, I'm not.
Precisely my point. Don't you see? The Empire's not one army, it's dozens, hundreds. It's what I strove to knock into that thick dome of yours. Alas, you're too much a dullard. Soon as I'd learned you'd crossed into Angren, I sent for reinforcements. They'll be here soon. 3 regiments, armed to the teeth.
They'll find your corpse impaled upon a spike, while I'll be long gone.
By which path, I wonder? But one bridge leads to Tuzla. As it happens, I ordered it raised as you laid siege. The swamps around the castle are too deep to cross. Try to rebuild the bridge, the Imperial troops will arrive before you can finish. Your men they'll slay as you watch, and then they'll wring your neck.
I wouldn't be so pleased were I you. You won't live to see this outcome.
I know that, but I take heart in the truth. Though the castle you've seized and will likely kill me, I've won. Outsmarted you, Maeve. Twice now. And you know what? 'Twasn't even that hard.
With those words, with his arrogance and contempt, Caldwell had gone too far. The Queen gripped his shoulders, pushed. Caldwell stumbled backwards, then tripped out the window. A blood-chilling shriek filled the courtyard, then broke off abruptly.
Now fool me thrice. Try.
Maeve slapped the dust from her hands. The traitor had met a deserving end at last. Yet this was no time to revel in the Count's demise. If Caldwell had spoken the truth, the Queen and her army were in grave danger. Maeve's scouts quickly confirmed the traitor's claim. The bridge was indeed in flames, and Nilfgaardian regiments were advancing from the south. Now to confirm if there was truly no other route by which they could flee. The Queen ordered her men to ask the local peasants. One of their number, a stable hand who'd lived near Tuzla all his life, claimed a secret path led out the back of the stronghold.
King Ragbard himself ordered it built. Had him drop great stones into its swamp, one after another. like beads on a string. Bit of water covers them, so you can't see nowt at start. Can make 'em out if you go proper slow, though.
What is it?
The stones, they lead to Isgith. And there, my lady, lurks an evil worse nor any black-clad army.
What? A beast of some sort?
Some say beast, others god. Guernicora, they call her. And you'll yet see, my lady. Isgith shines red with your blood.
A silly tale to frighten children, Meve thought at first. Then paused. For something about the man's voice made his every word believable.
None too encouraging, yet preferable to certain death. Tell me, from Isgith, will we reach the banks of the Yaruga, near Red Lobendon perchance?
Aye, your majesty. You need but head north. And pray all along the way.
Soon, Meve stood where the stable hand had said she should, at the edge of a vast marsh. Carefully, she dipped a foot into the broth and probed for solid ground. Sure enough, she found stone. One cautious step, then another. Meve slowly strode off towards Isgith. With the path to Isgith hidden from view, Meve proceeded like one blind, moving solely by touch. With each step, she could not know if she would find rock or plunge beneath the black water's surface. The Queen's soldiers followed single file, carefully mirroring her every move. The Lyrians, near the end of their strength, got lucky when a light breeze dispersed the fog to reveal dry land. The Queen let out a sigh of relief.
At last.
Meve kicked off her boots to empty them of water and mud, then promptly screamed.
Ah!
Her legs were in leeches, slimy, bloated leeches. Ignoring the pain and trickling blood, she frantically tore them from her legs, wishing to be rid of them. Having plucked the last parasite from her calf, Meve grabbed her boot to crush the bloodsucker beneath her heel. Yet it had already slithered off. She spotted it on the trunk of a birch where, like a very fast snail, it was climbing.
What the devils?
But Meve's words caught in her throat. Leeches and ticks in the dozens dangled from the tree's branches. Some were so gorged on blood that their skin was translucent and on the point of bursting. Meve had some difficulty muting the urge to retch. The Queen stepped back, finding it hard to believe what hung before her eyes, confused as to what it all meant.
We'll catch 'em all!
It's gonna be a right good levy. Big and beautiful.
You mad? Don't shake that!
Left, right, left, right.
Don't like this.
The chase is on!
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
Again and again and again.
Cursed traders.
Stop your yapping and start digging.
This could hurt.
armor won't say. One bolt all I need. You